Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today what we're going to do is we're going to try to make depression style bread and butter pickles. So the first thing that we do is I went out to the garden, I picked a bunch of cucumbers, and let me show you what I got. So the first thing that you want to do is slice up your cucumbers, and my cucumbers are about that big. You kind of want them a little smaller for this, maybe about half of that size, but I kind of let these grow a little bit too long, but we're going to use them anyway. So the first thing you want to do is you want to slice your pickles about 1/4 of an inch. This is about 3/8, and that's how I like them. So that's your first step. Okay, and then the next thing you do is you want to add some sort of pepper. Now, it doesn't have to be red pepper. It can be, if you like it spicy, you can use jalapenos. You can use red pepper. You can use chiles. So sky's the limit. So you want to put 1 pepper in or more, depending on how you like it or how big you're going to make your batch. Okay, guys, so then the next step is to cut onions. And you can have like a medium onion, a small onion. It really just depends on your batch. And you want to cut them kind of into long or small pieces. It's really up to you and your preference. And then after that, then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of kosher salt. Now you can also use pickling salt, and you just want to pour that in there. And then we're going to stir it up real good. Okay, then we're just going to stir that up real good. Try to get it incorporated all the way to the bottom. You see, some of these pickles are kind of big, and that's okay. Just use what you got, because you kind of want to experiment anyway to get the recipe the way you want it. It's never going to be exactly the same unless you really write down your ingredients and stuff every single time perfectly. But I like to experiment a little bit, so my recipes usually vary from one recipe to the next. Okay, so then we have that all mixed in. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to cover it and then put it in the fridge. All right, and then we want to make sure that we put our saran wrap all the way down in the bowl before you put it in the fridge. Okay, so while our pickles are chilling, next thing we want is 2 cups of sugar. We're going to start to make our brine. So we have 2 cups of sugar in there. Okay, and then our next mixture is going to be our mustard seed, our celery seed, our black peppercorns, our ground clove. I have to add the turmeric, fresh garlic, vinegar, and then 1 cup of water. So this is all the mustard seed, celery seed, black peppercorns, ground clove. And you just dump that in there, and I used 1/4 cup of that. So next you want to add 1 teaspoon of turmeric. That's what's going to give the pickles that yellowish color. Okay, the next thing we have is our chopped fresh garlic. Now I just put it in this 1/4 cup. It's actually about 4 good sized cloves. Just pour that in there. Okay. All right, next we have our apple cider vinegar, and this is about 1 cup. And we're also going to put 1 cup of white vinegar. All right, this is the white vinegar. Go ahead and just pour all that in there. And it's looking really good. Look at that, very flavorful. It's got all the right ingredients in there that we need for our brine. Okay, now we're going to add 4 cups of water. I already put 3 cups in. This makes 4. All right, and then the next thing we have to do is put it on the stove. Okay, so we're going to let our brine cook until it just starts to simmer on the stove. And then we're going to add our other stuff, our pickles and stuff in there. But we have to make sure that your pickles sit 2 hours, and then you're going to drain them. So I'm going to let this sit, and we're going to come back when the pickles are ready. Okay guys, so it's time to check our pickles, and you can see that they have changed colors a lot. The edges are starting to like get a little crinkly. See that? So what we're going to do is we're going to drain these, and get all, oh wow, look at all that salt water. So we're gonna drain these guys. Okay, get all our pickles out of there. Put them in there, in our colander. You don't want to sit them too terribly long. You just want to make sure that they get nice and crinkly, where you can see that the water, a lot of the water out of the pickle is draining off. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm looking to see how much is draining out the bottom here. Okay, so that'll do it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to transfer that into our brine, which it's all ready to go. Put our pickles in here, into our brine, and you don't want them to splash necessarily. Kind of put them in there easily because there's a lot of pickles. All right, and get all that goodness. Get all your onions and everything. There you go, and put right in there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stir this up. Okay, and what we're going to do next is we want it to simmer. So what you're going to do is you're going to let it simmer, right? And then you're going to we're just going to simmer it. We're not going to boil it or anything like that. And then we're going to shut the heat off, and then we're going to transfer it into our jars, because we're going to can these using the hot water bath method. Okay, so stay tuned, guys. Okay, guys, when I say simmer, just so that the bubbles are on the outside, you don't really want this to boil. So it's starting to simmer right now, so we're going to go ahead and put it in our jars. Okay, guys, so we're going to take our jar, and I just heated them up, and we're going to fill our pickles and our brine put it in the jars. And you want to make sure that you're filling not only with the pickles, but with part of the brine too. I know it looks kind of messy, but it's really hard to see. But we're gonna fill these up anyway. And some of these pickles are really big, so they wouldn't normally be that big. But I just used what we had out in the garden, because we kind of let them go a little bit too long, but it's okay. And then you just want to fill some of the brine in there, and then move on to the next jar. Oops, it's kind of hot. And just put it in there. Make sure your onions and stuff get in there too, along with some brine. I know I'm a little bit messy, but that's okay. It'll all work out. Oh yeah. Put that there. Let's see what our next one looks like here. I'm going to fill these, so we're going to go ahead and pause. Okay guys, so I got my jars filled. The next thing what we're going to do is take a damp cloth, and we just want to clean the rims because we need to put our lids in that on. So we want to make sure those are very clean. And you set a lid on and a ring. And you don't want these super tight right away. You want them just kind of so where they're kind of just loose and sitting on there. Right. I really like these wide mouth ones because you can get a lot in there and they don't spill all over the place. The onion in there. Okay. Next one here. And you can kind of see that they're already turning that yellow color. That's from the turmeric. That's what really gives them their good yellowy, buttery color. All right. Put our last one on. Okay, guys, and then basically all you do is let these sit and cool, and you'll hear the pop. And then a couple weeks later, I think we'll come back and we'll give them all a taste test. So thanks for watching, guys.